As the custodian of the country's gateway, we continuously seek to provide a seamless and joyful experience for you. The Butterfly Effect, a set of facilities and services specially catered to guests with hidden disabilities. The Butterfly Effect aims to ensure our hidden disability guests have a seamless and pleasant journey at our airport. We have designated areas for our hidden disability guests, and you will be specially assisted by our trained airport staff. The process is fairly easy and hassle-free. Should you need to use the Butterfly Effect, you can pre-register through Malaysia Airport's official website 3 days prior to your flight. The registration will allow the airport community to prepare for your upcoming travel, ensuring a seamless journey. Upon arrival at the airport, do look out for the Butterfly Effect logo. It is located between doors 2 and 3 at departure level KLIA 1 and at door 2, departure level KLIA 2. You may then proceed to the Customer Information Counter at level 5, Departure Hall KLIA 1 and level 3, Departure Hall KLIA 2. For verification purposes, please present an OKU card or a letter issued by a doctor stating the hidden disability condition. You will be given a butterfly kit containing a lanyard, brochure and leaflet on locations of the calm room and sensory walls. It is best to have the lanyard on at all times for proper assistance from our airport staff. Our friendly airport care ambassadors will happily guide and escort you from the check-in counter all the way to the boarding gate. As a Butterfly Effect guest, you may utilize the calm room located at level 5 KLIA 1 before proceeding to the boarding gate. Our calm room is designed specifically to help individuals with hidden disabilities to regulate their emotions and calm their anxieties in the busy and loud airport environment. The interactive touch panels of our sensory walls help hidden disability guests to engage through their touch and sight, encouraging interactive explorations. Our Butterfly Effect guests will have special access at all checkpoints within the terminal. If your flight is at the satellite building, you may take the train or ride the bus and enjoy the scenery. At the boarding gate, you will go through the final round of security checks. Our aviation security personnel will give more time and flexibility to accommodate to your needs. As caring hosts, the aim of the Butterfly Effect initiative is to provide an inclusive and seamless airport experience for all our guests.
Assalamualaikum, good afternoon and welcome to another session of MYAirportsButterflyTalk. This is a monthly webinar via Facebook Live and hosted by Malaysia Airports. Now, during this session, we will be sharing with you on topics that are related to the hidden disabilities in a person, which is usually an often overlooked disability. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Hafiza and I'll be the moderator for today. So one of the hidden disabilities that we know is ADHD, or Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. Knowing and getting diagnosed with ADHD can be challenging, especially when there's lack of knowledge of what it is, as well as the stigma and discrimination surrounded by it. Nevertheless, even though a person is living with ADHD, it does not mean that they are able to be successful in their lives or career. So as long as there is access to information about ADHD and they have strong support system, we will strive towards building an inclusive community in the society. So last month, we talked about adult ADHD. and we gained quite good knowledge on the topic. Most of us are even not aware that adult ADHD does exist. Now, this week's following to the previous session, the topic is about seeking support on ADHD in Malaysia. So we will find out how and where to get support for people living with ADHD. So to help us understand better on today's topic, we have with us today Ms. Nurul Nadia Ahmad Kamil and also Ms. Izzat Zaid. Yeah. Okay. Welcome. Hi, and welcome, Ms. Nadia and also Ms. Izzat. How are you?
Yeah, I'm
Right.
good.
Okay. Welcome to the show, and thank you for agreeing to be with us here in this session. Thank you so much. Okay, let me give a quick introduction of both of you to the audience. I'll start with Miss Nadia. Miss Nadia is a community pharmacist at Andalusia Pharmacy in Kuala Lumpur. She has 4 years of working experience as a pharmacist and is also currently pursuing her MBA at MSU. Am I right, Miss Nadia?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And for the viewers' information, Miss Nadia was also diagnosed with ADHD, which she found out about it in 2021. So from there on, she started to advocate to ADHD, where she shares her knowledge and personal experience with the people around her. She is also an active member of Cogniversity Malaysia, which is a social enterprise that advocates and provides educational content for neurodivergent adults in Malaysia. So that's about Miss Nadia. Do you have anything else to add on about yourself, or perhaps maybe we can discuss further later?
All right. Okay. Would like to add on about myself. Okay. Thank you, Hafiza, for the quick introduction about me. Okay. So before starting my career as a community pharmacist, I also a master degree graduate from UKM in the pharmaceutical analysis, and I have a huge interest in the research area, human psychology, and I love to educate people to create awareness about it, especially about the mental health. Okay, so this is my second talk about ADHD, and I'm grateful to be invited as one of the panelists to educate people more about this hidden disability ADHD. So actually, my first talk was a webinar series organized by Cogniversity. So this I will be grateful to be one of the panelists for today. That's all about me.
Thank you, Miss Nadia. Yeah, that's a great experience that you have right there, and definitely we will get to know more about your area of expertise. Yeah, okay. And now let us welcome Miss Izzat Zaid. Miss Izzat is a clinical psychology trainee at Thrive Well. She recently completed her master's in clinical psychology from IIUM. And the interesting part about Miss Izzat is that she always knew that and was always told that she was different from others. So I'm not sure what different is that. Perhaps maybe you can explain further. But then when she found out that she has ADHD, she was discouraged at first, but she learned to accept and embrace it eventually. Just like Miss Nadia, Miss Izzat is also an active member of Cogniversity Malaysia. So, Miss Izzat, do you have anything to add on about yourself before we move on to questions?
Right. I think thank you, Hafiza, for the brief introduction. I think I will let that be there because I will talk more about myself as well. But I do want to say, I'm really excited to be here today.
Yeah, right. Likewise, it's a very interesting topic, right? Okay, now that we've gotten to know both of you, Miss Nadia and also Miss Izzat, both of the panelists here, let us explore today's topic, as I am sure many of us, many of the viewers out there are eagerly waiting. So before we start, to the audience, to the viewers out there, if you have any questions to ask in regards to this topic, please do type in the comment below, and I will get the panelists to address to your queries. Yeah, all right. Okay. Now I would like to kickstart the session by asking this question to both of our panelists today. But before that, as I mentioned earlier, last month we had a very fruitful session with Dr. Rowena Lynn Murray about adult ADHD and her personal experience being someone with ADHD and with autism spectrum. So she shared some of the symptoms of someone with ADHD, such as difficulty in paying attention, hyperactivity, and impulsive behavior, which may lead to perhaps maybe poor performance, poor work or school performance, low self-esteem, and other problems as well. So just a little bit of reminder to the viewers, if you missed that topic last month, you can click on the link which we have already put in the comments below, and it will direct you to that particular program or session. All right. Okay, so to discuss further, perhaps the panelists can share with us your experience when you found out about your diagnosis. So perhaps maybe you can start with Miss Nadia.
Okay, all right. So I would like to share about my experience before I found out about diagnosis. Okay, so before the diagnosis, I experienced a few episodes of we call the low mood. It's like previously I didn't know that the low mood could be depressions, and I got the anxiety as well. So it actually happens when I leave school, my secondary school. So but then the mental health awareness is still lacking. So especially in depression and anxiety disorder. So I thought it's a normal to have a such emotions until I moved house from another state, from Kuala Lumpur to Selangor. So I was first felt like I was having depression when I was working in one of the government hospital in Sarawak. So due to some events, I had to resign and resign from the hospital as a pre-registered pharmacist and going back to my state. So the mood got better while recovering from sleep pain. Okay, so the second we call the what it makes me to seek help to see the the doctors to get diagnosed is when I have a we call recurrent low mood during the pandemic, along with multiple episodes of panic attacks. So I was first clinically diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder uh, by the government hospital. Then what drive me to see the doctor is I have the ideation to end my life. Okay, so I think it's not a good thing to have that ideation. So I go to the hospital to get help. Okay, so despite of taking medication for the anxiety, so we call the diagnosis, how I get the ADHD diagnosis is when I call it the big wave. That led me towards the diagnosis is because despite of taking the medication, my symptom doesn't improve. Then I have like we call that macam emotional dysregulations. We so called like mood swings or we call cry baby, and too sensitive, and I got the low mood as well. Okay, so before I being told that I might have ADHD, I already look up for the symptoms, but of course we stay in denial. Then after that, I think I still need to get second opinion on my GAD. So I go for the private psychiatrist to we call to just to get the confirmation whether I have ADHD or not. So the history was from my childhood was taken, and I was confirmed by psychiatrist to have ADHD as an adult. Okay, so I double confirm again the diagnosis with the government hospital. Okay, so as I get the diagnosis, I knowing that myself some kind of special, even though on that time I think that I'm not fit in well in the society, I don't feel normal. But after knowing that I am special, I managed to recall to handle to cope with the issues that come in my life. So that's made me a better adult. With even though I have the disability. Okay, that's all from me.
Wow, that's
How
quite
about
a
you,
lot.
Faizal?
Yeah. That's quite an experience, yeah, and of course definitely you being in denial and all, so are you still on medication Sorry if I ask.
Yeah, I'm still on medication for my anxiety and also for my ADHD as well because uh, as I get adult, so the we call the responsibilities and all that getting heavier. So I couldn't cope actually. So with the help of the medication, it does help me to
To call.
realign with my life. Yes.
All right, all right. Understand, understand. How about you, Miss Izzat? Um, if you would like to share your experience.
Okay, yeah. So I'm really, in the case of me, I feel I was a bit different from Nadia. Um, Actually, for me, I found out I have ADHD when I was diagnosing a person who has ADHD. So it was during my first practicum. So
Oh,
as a trainee lah, and so I did a comprehensive interviewing, talking about asking about childhood, and then I learned to use a lot of the psychological tools to diagnose ADHD, and then there and then when I get to know more, I started realizing because I did a lot of watching seminars, reading articles about ADHD just to understand the case. So the more I read, the more I feel like, hey, this is actually something I experience, and it explains a lot about my life, like why certain behavior I have certain behavior. So and the DSM, we use the diagnostic manual for diagnosing. They talk about behavioral aspect, cognitive aspect. I think most behavioral aspect of ADHD. But as I go through research, there's actually more on the emotional aspect as well, like the emotion dysregulation is also a part of ADHD, and how
okay.
it can link to other comorbidities. But then in my case, like I started. I actually since the first year of my study when I did my masters, I started seeing counselors about certain difficulties and certain struggles. Um, and during that second year when I did my practicum, I was seeing a counselor as well. And I think my counselor is helping me making sense of my experience, and she put it into words that make sense for me. Like I like for example, she was telling me like how I'm having really high energy, and then during that time it was COVID, so I could not those energy were the coping that I used to do. I like to exercise and all. I don't have that. So the feeling of restlessness was really a lot during that time. I know I always was always easily distracted. So those was something I experience, but it doesn't really bother me. But during that time, I started seeing all those patterns, and then it made me think like, hey, do I actually have ADHD? And a friend actually pointed out like, do I have bipolar disorder? But I do know that I don't have that. But the emotional fluctuation is there. Certain symptoms I can see more and more when it's pointed out to me. So then my counselor suggested that I see a psychiatrist. I also don't want to do self-diagnose lah, although I'm diagnosing other people, right? So I don't want to self-diagnose. I went to see a psychiatrist, and then there I get diagnosis. I mean, I confirm lah whatever I've been thinking about myself. So two psychiatrists actually helped me to confirm the diagnosis. And when
Sorry, it's lagging.
that
Sorry.
happened, okay. So um,
It's a bit
okay,
lagging.
it's a bit lagging. Is it lagging now?
Yeah, now okay.
Okay. So yeah, I met my psychiatrist, and that time I was having a sense of relief and also a sense of denial. Like the relief part was that I feel like a lot of things in my life make sense. Like I recall in high school, since high school, I was actually questioning if my brain is different from other people because of certain ways that I do was usually unconventional. Even the way I study is unconventional, it's different. So I I don't know what is different, but I know I'm different. And some ideas that I throw out there, people will say like, "Oh, that's a crazy idea. Oh, that's really that's really something that people wouldn't think lah. But then yeah, when I took psychology, it even have the question comes even more lah, like why am I learning something but I feel like I'm not that,
Yeah.
especially when I'm taking cognitive psychology class. I'm so curious about my brain that I had the thought of like, if I dissect my brain, what am I going to find out? That's how curious I am.
Yeah, you know.
So when
Yeah.
I get the diagnosis, yeah, I feel like the puzzles are coming together, and I'm like, oh, this makes sense. This behavior now makes sense. Now I know why I'm impulsive, why I can be like super energetic at one time, and yeah, so that's the relief part. But
Yeah.
yeah, the
Okay.
denial part was because I keep questioning, like, is this really true? Because if with
Yep.
ADHD, it's a lifelong condition. It's not like you have it and then you take
Exactly.
medication, gone.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think yeah, that's right. I think both of you, Nadia and also Izzat, both of you, when you learned about having being diagnosed with ADHD, at first definitely you're being in denial, right? But of
yeah,
course, and as time goes by, with all the research and things that we've learned along the way, you will be able to accept your condition, right? So, okay, if you don't mind, I would like to know more about the challenges. Now that you know that you are diagnosed with ADHD, what are the challenges that you faced before? Was there any discrimination against you, or is there any something else that we don't know that you'd like to share with us? And also more importantly, just to help the viewers out there, if they're having the same issues or same diagnosis like you, how do you cope with all these challenges? Perhaps Ms. Nadia, do you want to start first?
Alright, okay. From previously, it's actually from during my school time. Before that, I was knowing that I have ADHD from school, so I like frequently being scolded by the teachers during the teaching because I like to talk too much and I have difficulty in complete my homework. And for certain subject, I also get distracted easily. So the way is I don't want to get involved in the class. Is I was actively involved in the sport activities. Mean that during the primary school, I was already active in the sport. Okay, so whenever the school organized and sport activity, I will gladly involve. Okay, then but however, surprisingly, still I managed to get the good result. Not that like we call flying colors, but still in
Yeah,
orang kata like a moderate
before you.
result. Yes. So discrimination that I had during my secondary schools is actually because when you don't have the focus, you don't have attention in the class, you will ask your friends to help you to explain more. But somehow, no one wanted to help you. So because they have their own struggles too, then I have to study by myself and doing the tutorials and pass exam questions, especially during my SPM. Okay, so discrimination is like because no one wanted to help because they have the idea of the knowledge, but nobody really wanted to explain to help their friends.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
is discrimination that I got during my school.
Mm.
So
Do, do you have
yeah.
do you have a personal tutor to help you with
uh,
your studies?
no, I don't have the personal tutor. I study by myself, so I have the like we call the ADHD. We have the like hyper focus. So I just need to do the mindset that I have to focus on this in order for me to pass the test. Then yeah, actually, I can study by myself because
Yeah,
we just
yeah.
like macam nobody wants to help you. You are the only one that can help yourself.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But Alhamdulillah, you are successful already. So okay, okay. How about you, Miss Izzat? Do you face any challenges along the way?
I think when I was in high school, similar to Miss Nadia just now, I was really active in sports. I joined whatever competition there is, as long as I can take the opportunity to go out of school, I would sees it, So, just name any sports. I joined basketball, netball, futsal, taekwondo, silat. So I was
Wow.
here and there. I was here and there. So
Very
until
active.
I remember one time my ustazah was angry at me because I got a D or a E for my for one subject, and then my teacher scold me, lah, tak datang sekolah selalu. But yeah, eventually I still study for the subject lah. But during ujian,
Okay.
usually I didn't take it seriously. Yeah, but
Mm, mm.
anything that gets me moving, I like it. So my experience at school is really fun because I can join a lot of things. But study wise, I think like I said, I study differently. So I have my own style of study. I cannot study on my own. Even until now, it's really hard for me to study on my own. So what I do is actually I find my friends who are willing to listen to me. So instead of asking them to teach me, I offer to teach them because I know if I wanted to teach someone, I have to be ready, and that urgency there will make me like really hyper focus and like read and try to understand as much as I can and then teach
Right.
people. So that was my strategy. So I volunteered as guru muda, and then even during university, I joined the mentor mentee. I become a mentor, and when there's no mentor mentee program, I go to my lecturer and propose to have it, and I volunteered myself to
Yep.
teach because
Yep.
I just
Right.
cannot do it on my own. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So I guess that's how you overcome the challenges that you face. You go to a certain activities like sports, like mentioned by Nadia just now, and you doing other co-curricular activities like being mentor mentee program, right? Right. So
yeah,
and
yeah,
other activities as well to distract yourself from being in that condition, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially
Okay.
when I think just a bit to add, when I am the one teaching, I understand better, but also, that's how I get to study. That's the small window that I have to study. If I
That's
rely
good.
on myself, it's going to be very hard for me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good to know. Yeah, yeah. Okay. And well, there's I'm sure there are much more that we can do. We as a society that we can do to inculcate more of an inclusive society. So, in your opinion, Miss Nadia and also Miss Izzat, how can we achieve this? To make the society understand better.
All right,
Yeah.
for me is
Perhaps Miss Nadia, would you like to
okay.
start first?
Yes, for me, it's like we should create more awareness about ADHD, and ADHD should be recognized as well as one of the neurodiversity we call other than like autism, right? So ADHD also should be recognized. So because the damage of undiagnosed ADHD may cause a huge impact to that person, especially on their quality of life. Because as
Yep.
the adult ADHD that been diagnosed, so it cost me a lot in terms of my social life, my working life, and my
Yeah.
personal things as well in relationship. So the awareness should be we call more and more uh, to provide the education to the society.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Do you have anything to add, Miss Izzat?
Yeah, I resonate what Miss Nadia said. First is awareness, and I think not just awareness to the society, but I think towards the family who
Family.
who
Yeah.
probably live with a person with ADHD. The awareness level, because the support that is needed is really high because you live in
Yeah.
that environment, right? And although I can say that maybe compared to other people, I was growing up quite well, but there's a lot of things that I feel ADHD still impacts my life, and it's very frustrating to know that things that I don't want to happen keep on happening. So having a family that is accepting is really a big thing in my life, and I'm really grateful for that. So my parents were showing really high acceptance ever since I was a child, and that's also helped me develop. But in terms of
Yeah.
society, I think it's also acceptance within the society. And let's say in the workplace, personally, my workplace, I feel like I also experience high level of acceptance I think in Travel, the people probably from a mental health background, they have like really high understanding on how other people struggle, so they accept me as who I am, and actually I was able to thrive because my strength was being highlighted, and also whatever my vulnerabilities that I experienced that I have, I was able to seek the right support there.
Right.
So but it comes
That's
with
good.
awareness, definitely awareness. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's the most important thing. Awareness. Everybody in the society needs to know and to understand the condition that these persons with ADHD are facing right now. So definitely support from family. I would say, like both of you mentioned, family, friends, close friends. Your relatives. They need to support people with ADHD as well. Yeah. Okay. Now that both of you are active members of Cogniversity Malaysia, which plays a big role in advocating and empowering people with ADHD. So, can you tell us more about Cogniversity? Some of us here, perhaps maybe this is the first time that they got to know about this organization. Yeah. Tell us more about Cogniversity. Why was it established, and what sort of assistance that one can look forward to from Cogniversity Malaysia? So perhaps maybe Ms. Nadia, would you like to address that?
Alright, okay. So Cogniversity Malaysia is actually a social enterprise that was established on the January 1st, 2002. Okay, with the goal of being a platform to build a public awareness about ADHD, especially adult ADHD. Okay, we believe that it's very important for the adult ADHD individuals to get diagnosed and get a proper treatment before the intervention for ADHD in children can be done. Cogniversity came with a vision that enable adult ADHD individuals in Malaysia to reach their potential and be able to function well as a member of society. Okay, so the vision is driven by two missions. The first one is Cogniversity want to provide platform that support the adult ADHD group to optimize their potential through treatments by healthcare professionals and guidance and continuous learning. Okay, the second one is to educate the community and spread the information about mental health, especially adult ADHD. Okay, the some sort of assistance that Cogniversity provide is a support through platform, meaning that this is the platform where you can get support. Where if you some people might think that they have ADHD, but they don't know how to get it done to get the diagnosis. So this Cogniversity have a platform to guide them to provide them a guideline to get diagnosis and what to be done after the diagnosis. Okay, so
Absolutely.
the Cogniversity have we call the core values that driven the visions by empathy, scientific and continuous learning, and also collaboration, meaning that we want people to understand and empathize the adult ADHD. We don't want think that people think that we want excuse or exempted us from doing anything, but we just want like people to understand more and empathize on the people with ADHD.
Mm.
And by the scientific evidence of ADHD cases, we can say there is a development in the medical practice in the ADHD also. So by continuous learning, we can move, change, and improve ourselves to become a better adult. And by collaboration, we want to create a culture of cooperation where we acknowledge, we understand each other weaknesses and strength uh, as to work together to become the better adult that uh, can function well in as a member of society.
Right,
That is
right.
about the Cogniversity.
That's quite a lot of information about Cogniversity. So I guess very interesting for our audience out there. Do check them out to find out more about Cogniversity Malaysia, and they can be found on social media platforms, right? Ms. Nadia?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
Cogniversity Malaysia. Facebook.
cogniversity.my, and also on their website at www.adhdmalaysia www.adhdmalaysia.com. Yeah. Okay. Right. I believe we will proceed to question and answer right now. Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's see. We have a question here from a viewer, Nur Aisha Azizi. Okay. Um, all right. The question is: sometimes I feel lazy to do anything, and I tend to procrastinate. But when I looked up for signs of ADHD on the internet, only some of them that I have experienced, such as procrastination, having trouble focusing, and difficulties to finish a task. So, should I be worried? So I'm not sure whether we should, perhaps maybe we should. How about what's your reply to this, Miss Izzat?
Okay, so yeah, I'm hearing that there are certain um, symptoms that may be related to ADHD being presented here, right? What I would suggest is if you do feel like you have been struggling this since a very long time, since you were young, because ADHD is a neurodevelopmental condition, so the symptoms doesn't suddenly appear as an adult. So it's usually like, that's why, like Miss Nadia said, was interviewing about the past during childhood, but nevertheless it's a concern that needs to be addressed. So you can go and see a mental health professional, of course, do the screening. If there is a need for a further assessment, then the therapist may, or the psychiatrist may conduct further evaluation if they deem like it's necessary. So it's already something that's happening. So finding help is definitely the way that I would suggest lah. Mm.
Right. Okay. So I guess University Malaysia would also be able to advise on this subject, right? On this matter, right? Okay. All right. Okay. Can we have? Let's see the second question, please. Do we have the second question? Okay, we have the second question from Haryati Tumiran. What are the long-term effects if people suffering from ADHD does not seek proper help? So perhaps maybe Ms. Nadia, would you like to address that?
All right, for the long-term effects for someone who does not seek proper help, there's a few, like I said, in their social life, their working life, and also personal life. Okay, for social life, they might have we call that difficulty to blend in with the society, and also they will have like a very short-term friendship with their friends because ADHD they have some we call that out of sight, out of mind context that if I don't see you for a while, meaning that I'm not friend with you anymore. So
Oh, okay.
it's actually we call that ADHD thing. So if you in the social things, you might lose your friends. Okay, for working life. Okay, it's because ADHD have the tendency to be procrastinate, being disorganized, and have the difficulty to start on the new project or to finish the project. So it might cause you like the bosses will get angry with you, then you cannot perform well in your work, so your KPI will drop, all that. So if you don't get sick, your work also you will lose your job also, and you will like we call that you will jump to another job to another job. So this is not good thing. So you in the working life, so when you get the proper we call proper help, so you can maintain your job as well. Okay, so for
Right.
personal life is because ADHD also have the emotional dysregulation. We have like we call executive dysfunction. So you might have a we call mood disorder if not get the proper help from the beginning. We call the early intervention. So some will get depression, some will have a low mood disorder like anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, and the worst case scenario, they will develop like we call that NPD, narcissistic disorder. Is like we call as more on like mental health illnesses like neuro we call that neuro disorder. So it actually costs a lot because once you when you don't get the proper help, you tendency to get we call treatment by yourself. Some of them might also will start to abuse substance just to get focus, just to get
Yep.
To get their life in a good shape, but not in a good way.
Yeah, so basically need proper guidance and advice from
Yes.
professionals as well. Yeah. Okay, all right. I think we have the last question before we close the session. The question is, where is University located? Yeah, I think that's most important. I would also want to know, would like to pay you a visit. Where is University located? And is there a center or are the services provided online? Perhaps maybe Miss Izzat, if you can answer that.
Okay. I think Miss Nadia is more experienced than me. Got
Okay.
university. I'm quite new, so I would leave
All right.
Miss Nadia to. But I do know
All right.
it's online platform. Yeah.
Yeah,
But more
actually, it's an
information.
online platform. Yes, because the members of the society is like from Kuala Lumpur and Selangor as well.
Right.
So actually, we do the platform is like more on online services. We don't have that we call physical location yet, but you can get the service by online, the platform, the ADHD Malaysia.
ADHD. Okay. All right. The one that I mentioned just now.
Yes.
ADHDmalaysia.com, right? How many members are there in University currently?
Currently, it's like more like less than 20 members.
I
It came
see.
from we came from the professional background, mostly like uh psychologists, clinical psychologists, a
Right.
doctor, a pharmacist, all that.
All right. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna close the session today. Thank you so much, Miss Nadia. Thank you so much, Miss Izzat. Thank you for all the questions. For the viewers. Unfortunately, that is all the time that we have today. But for the viewers out there, if you have further questions, please feel free to visit our Facebook page, Malaysia Airports, and also leave us a comment so that we can get back to you with an answer. Yeah. And once again, on behalf of Malaysia Airports, thank you to Miss Nadia and also Miss Izzat for being with us here today and sharing with us your experience, taking your time off to join us today. So I appreciate it very much. And for all our audience out there, do stay tuned for next month's My Airports Butterfly Talk session with another interesting topic. So until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and be a responsible social butterfly. Thank you. Bye.